Hello. Yeah, hope all of you can hear me. Hope I am audible. Hope. Hello. 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 Hope I am audible. Hope. Hello. Okay. So I believe I am very much audible, and yes, now we can start with, and we are good to go. So let we start. Uh, could you please confirm me quickly if I am audible, please? In case I am audible. Yeah, in case you can please confirm me quickly, it will be good for me so that I can be assured that all of you can hear me. Hi, Mukesh. Very good evening. So, Mukesh, could you please confirm me quickly if I am audible to you? A quick confirmation will work. So, could you please confirm me? Could you please confirm me if I am audible? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you so much for this confirmation. Okay, let me start with. So basically, like today, we were supposed to start with our labs, but I was getting a lot of feedbacks, like from at least 5 or 6 people, that they are not clear about basics, even like what are subscription and what is account, what are resource group, and if they are trying to create some subscription, which subscription they should choose. So I decided to make this one more session theoretical, right? From next session, we will be diving purely into labs. So please be very much clear about this, right? So, welcome to all of you. And next is like, what is the learning path of this training? Though I have already repeated in the last session that what exactly we are going to cover, but still let me do it again, like what exactly we are going to cover in this complete sessions, right? So first of all, what we will be doing is just a second, let me fix it again. Okay, now I hope it is very much clear. Right, now it is working fine. So first of all, what is the path that we are going to cover? Let me revise it quickly. So first of all, we will be covering like AZ 900, right? This is basically like architect path, right? So we'll be covering uh, every aspect of this architect path, right? And we will be covering the complete path for this certification. And this training is not focused on certification, but it is more than that. It is purely based on live sessions and uh, pure examples from live fields, right? So we will be diving in that mode from coming session, right? And also it will be covering like AZ 104, and also it will be covering like AZ 305. All right. So after completing this complete cycle, we will be diving into DevOps part, right? And there we will be covering like AZ 400, right? And then we will be covering data engineer path, right? So under that we will be doing all the certifications which are required for that, but that is the third phase basically. So we need to focus first on this part one, and then this part, right? So and these sessions would be less in theory but more in practicals. So in first lesson or first session basically, so what we covered I will be telling you in just a few minutes, and what we are going to cover and how we are going to move further in these sessions I will be telling you, right? So now many people are asking me like, sir, we can get all these things from internet as well, and from so many places we can get, so is it beneficial? So let me try to clarify it, right? And even some people ask me like is it really free? So let me confirm you, it is really free, 100%. I know it is very much difficult to trust, because nowadays like there are so many hooks are there that people call people for in the name of free, and then they charge something or like that. So it's nothing like that. It is 100% free, and you will be covering all the certifications, all the paths, and everything is free over here, right? So please be assured about that, right? And next is why you should join it. So let me tell you in layman language, right? So before we do anything, we have three purpose, right? So first is uh, we want to do, like we have maybe it's our hobby or our liking, or we like it. Like some people are very much health conscious, right? Like first we do it by choice or by will, right? Second is some people do things by force, right? And third is as per trend, right? So let me give you one simple example. Before a few months back, like I wanted to go to gym for many years, right? But I was just thinking, but I never decided to go to gym, right? But for last few months I'm going to gym, because like I have this thing, I have will, but I was not able to go because I was lazy or maybe other reasons, right? By force means if I have my overweight, or I have belly fat or like that, right? So that is something like by force, fine. So that was not the case. I'm totally fit. Next is trend. Like few of my friends were going, they started to go to gym few months back. So I started to go with them, right? And now I'm regular in gym, right? So this was the case that was fitting with me. Now let me try to correlate this thing with our learning path, right? As your learning path, as your learning path, right? So it may be like by choice or by hobby, like you want to learn new technology, right? If that is the case, you can easily learn it by any means, right? For such people, there is no barriers. It may be like by force, like your company is adopting some technologies of Azure or maybe some other technologies, and this is you who has to adopt that by force. So that may be the case, right? If that is the case, you will have to learn this. And next one is trained. If this is the case that is not with you, like you don't want to learn any new technology, and you are not forced by your job, like your job is very comfortable, you are very much comfortable in doing the work and all those things, that is fine. But you, if that is not the case, it may be the case with you. Like nowadays, cloud technology is in trend, right? So you can join the community, or you can join your friends who are already learning, or you can join our free trainings, right? If you want to reach over here as your expert, right? So this is not the case with you, this is not the case with you, but this may be the case, right? So we are going to complete this training till here. If you want to go with us, you can just be with us, and you can also travel this journey, because sometimes we think like we will be doing this, we will be learning Azure, or we will be doing this or that, but after few sessions or videos or classes, we stop that journey, right? So it's the best time for you to make a promise to yourself that you are going to be with me for next 3 months, and I promise to you, you will be very much efficient in PowerShell and as well as your learnings, right? So both the fields we will be covering. PowerShell will not be there because we have already covered all those things, but yes, little bit it will be there. But our focus would be on Azure part only, right? So it's 3 month journey, right? The only thing that you need to pay is your time, your willpower, and your attention, nothing else. So if you really want to learn this thing, just be with me. So this is the reason that I think this is the enough reason that why you should join this program. All right, because you are not going to lose anything, but you are going to get so many things. So please take benefit of this. And I was also getting feedbacks from some students, like this is a kind of like one way session. So what we are going to do is, in between weeks, we will be conducting a sessions on Teams as well, right? So that we can interact with each other, like in case you have some queries, we can discuss them, or we can meet face to face with each other, we can talk to each other, like that, right? So I'm planning for that, and I will be passing the information about Teams meetings in the groups only. So in case you are not there, please join the group, and links are there in the description. Fine. So next is like what is covered and what is next. So already we have covered a little bit about cloud foundation, which are part of like AZ900, right? AZ900, like what are cloud technologies, and what are the benefits, right? And what are different approaches for it, and different things we covered in our last session. And in this session, basically this was supposed to be a lab session, but due to some feedbacks, I'm covering a few things in this session which are theoretical only. Like in this session, we will be covering what is basically ARM, Azure Resource Manager, right? And also we'll be discussing like what are the different components or scopes of this ARM, and what are subscription, what are resource group, what are management groups, right? So I think that will be the enough theory to go ahead and move to our next sessions, right? And in next session what we are going to cover is, let me tell you in advance, uh, third session, it will be the third session. So what we are going to cover is, we will be covering, we will be starting with network part, right? Because before doing any lab, we need to set up our network, we need to set up our basic infra, right? So we will be starting with network part, so don't miss that. And we will be covering complete network part maybe in third session, and also same will be done in fourth session as well, right? But this is how we are going to move, like network part, then compute part, right? And then storage part, like that, right? And then further we are going to move like that. Fine. So I believe it's enough theory and enough about these sessions, what exactly we are going to cover and how they are going to move forward. So in case you have any query, you can please tell me, or in case I'm audible, you can tell me. So let me take a quick feedback in case I'm audible, and if all the things are clear to you. So could you please confirm me quickly if all the things are audible to you and all the things are clear to you. Yeah, hi Sanjay. So could you please confirm me if all the things are audible to you? So I believe, good evening Sanjay. So I think things are audible and we can move further. Right. So yes, fine. So basically, as your resource manager, right? So this is something like that is used to create the resources and modify the resources in Azure, right? So this is a very basic term that we should be aware of. So all the things are based on this technology only and this service only. So in short, we can say this is a service that is responsible for resource creation and modification. So every technology, like whether it is infra as a code, right, or any tool that is interacting with Azure, or any management tool, any portal, any command line tool, whatever the tool that is interacting with Azure, that is purely focused on this part, ARM, right? So they have to align themselves with this term, right? So next is, what is the role of ARM basically? So like we have seen, it is a service that is responsible for creation and modification of all the resources. Sorry. So that is responsible for all the things. So how exactly it work, and what is the role? So whenever any management tool, whether it's Azure Portal or PowerShell or Azure CLI or some software tools like what we call is REST clients, like, or REST APIs, right? So whatever command they give, suppose we are interacting with portal and we are trying to create a VM, right? So ultimately the commands are going on the same place, that is Azure Resource Manager, right? So whatever the means, we are interacting with Azure, whether it's PowerShell, CLI, or REST clients, our all the commands are reaching over Azure Resource Manager, right? There occurs some authentication part, and once authenticated, like if the user is valid or credentials are valid, then it is given further access to resources, like it may be like compute part like VM, service management, web app, data store, or maybe some network part or some storage part, or anything maybe, right? So this is like how Azure Resource Manager comes into the picture. So it is basically the central layer, right? And the structure is like if you have heard about like Terraform, right, or any tool that is used as a infra as a code, right, that is used to create resources through some code on cloud technology. So they all work on this. They align themselves with this technology only, with this service only, right? So this is the central part, that every whatever the means, they all are going to interact through this part only, right? So in ARM, we have some hierarchy, right? So uh, or we can say it's scope, right? So we can like we have resources, that is the core part or core term or core thing, right? That is basically the instances of end services. Like suppose we need to create some VM or maybe like database or like that. So these are resources in Azure, right? And these resources are basically logically combined into something that is resource group. Fine. And these resource group are further logically combined into next scope, that is subscription. And these subscription may be logically collected or grouped in management groups, right? So we can say like management group contains subscription contains further resource group, and resource groups contain resources. So that is the structure that actually works, and that is the scope on which we define different policies, different compliance policies or different rules, and also we give different kind of authorizations and permissions, right? So if we discuss all these things one by one, so resource groups, right? So maybe this is a theoretical part. So you might be, in case you already have not gone through different things in Azure portal, then you might be feeling some difficulty, what exactly resource groups are, because it is sometimes difficult to understand through theory. So from next session we will be diving purely into labs. So there you will be having broad understanding of things, like how they work actually. Fine. So basically resource group are logical grouping kind of thing, right? Like all the resources, they are grouped together in the resource groups. Fine. And if we talk in terms of like life cycle, so any resource that is lying in a resource group will be deleted if we remove the resource group, right? So it is not like that we are having a virtual machine in a resource group and we remove the resource group but our VM is still lying over there. It is not the case. If we remove a resource group, resources will also be removed, right? So that is a purpose. Like suppose we are doing some testing part, or maybe like we are deploying some VM for a particular purpose, right? So that is like for some particular time, basically like we need to create those VMs for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, or like that. So what we can do in that case is like we can create all the resources that are required to create those VMs, like network part or like IP part or their security groups or different kind of things in the same resource group, maybe like resource group 1, right? We can create all the VMs in the same group, and after our purpose is solved, like we don't need those machines anymore, what we can do is instead of removing each machine one by one or searching for different components of those machines one by one, what we can do is we can simply remove the resource group, and all the resources what are lying over there in the group, they will be removed. So this is also the ease of work, right? So because they are logically grouped, so they all will be removed once our resource group is removed. So that is one uses. Second is life cycle, like if we remove the resource group, all the resources inside that will be removed. And third one is authorization. Like suppose we want to give a user access that he can create the VM, he can create networks and so many other things, but we want that he should not be able to access the complete subscription. or complete account, what we can do is we can simply assign him permission on a particular resource group, right? And once he is assigned permission on that resource group, he can do anything inside that resource group, but not outside of that resource group. So basically, uh, resource groups are used for logical grouping, lifecycle management of resources, and also for authorization, right? If we have to give some permission to any user for um, any resource. Next one is like some key points that we should remember about resource groups, right? Resources are member of single group, means at any point of time one resource could be member of a single resource group. It is not like that he can be member of so many groups and like that. One resource, one resource group at any given point of time. Next one is we can move the resources between different resource groups, right? But this is not applicable for all the resources. Some of the resources we cannot move across resource group. In case we want to see the list, we can easily refer the uh, KB article from Microsoft. Like for easiness, I have just saved it to favorites, like this one. If you will see this, like which resources can be moved, which resources cannot be moved, so we can easily see this, like these things are there. So basically these are categorized based on the categories. Like suppose if you want to see if a VM can be moved or not from one resource group to another, we can easily see, like we can find over here, like maybe uh, we can find over here and we can see like if any compute is there, like batch, classic, compute, like this one, right? Here we can see if a VM can be moved or not across resource groups, right? So like here we can see different things, whether containers can moved or not, or like this, we can easily find, right? Because I'm running on this live session, so my search option is disabled. I don't know why, but anyways, so you can use this KB article. I will be pasting this KB article in the description itself. You can refer it and you can see like how we can, which resources we can move actually across resource groups. Fine. So let me come back to our PPT, right? And next one is like resources cannot be nested, because like one resource group cannot be member of another resource group. So please keep this thing in mind and create it beforehand. Like every resource has to be part of some resource group. Fine. Suppose we are trying to create a VM, it should be part of some resource group. Fine. And it is not like that we can create the resource group after creation of VM. We have to create a resource group before creation of resource. All right. Like we need to create the resource group one maybe before creation of VM1, so that our VM1 can be placed in this resource group 1. All right. So this is how things work in case of resource group. Next is Azure subscription, right? So many people remain confused about this thing, right? Like what exactly account is, what is subscription, and how they interact with each other. So it is very simple. Like when you create a when you first time log in into your Azure, when you create your account for the first time, that is the account basically, right? Whenever, like suppose when you go to any site, like maybe any like when you go to site for creating a account, the very first time you use your ID and password, so that is basically your root account. And as soon as you create your account, a corresponding tenant is created for you in Azure AD, right? So that is the first account basically in your Azure AD, and also that is the owner of that account, right? That is the owner as well, and also that is the account in which our tenant is attached actually, right? Under that tenant, under that account, right? So when we first log into Azure, a account is created. Under that we get a subscription, right? It may be anything, like it may be like uh, there are basically different kind of subscription. We will be discussing them further. But when we create an account, one subscription is also given to us with that, right? And what kind of subscription it is, it depends upon what kind of subscription we have chosen during the creation of account, right? There may be one subscription in an account, or there may be many subscription in an account. It totally depends upon us, like how do we manage things. But one account can have many subscriptions under that. All right. Now, what may be the types of subscription? That is very important, where most of the people get confused, right? So which kind of subscription they should choose, right? So like beginners or the students, they go with trial account for the first time, right? In case like there we get some credits, and like for 1 month, and after that we get some services for 12 months free, right? But next one is pay as you go, right? In this model of subscription, you pay for the services whatever you use, right? Pay as you go, pay as you go, right? So whatever you use, you pay for that. And third one is member offers. Like this is the kind of subscription where Microsoft offers some like discounts. It may be like student offer, it may be like MSDN offer, or maybe like Visual Studio offer, or maybe sometime like corporate offer, or there are so many types of offers, right? You can easily find those offers on internet, right? So in case you want to see, you can easily find the site. Like also I have saved that in the favorites, like offer details. If you will browse this site, you can easily find like there are many offers. You can choose as per yours, and in case you fit into that, you will be getting some discounts in that, right? You will be getting some discounts, and as you can see, there are so many kind of offers: MSDN offer, VS offer, or like that. So many offers are there. So you can look into this, and if you fit in any of this offer, you can choose that accordingly. All right. But to be honest, I don't get fit in any of these offers, so I always use pay as you go model, right? So you can also create this. In case you have already used your free trial accounts, you can go for this option, right? And trust me, it is not going to charge you anything in case you don't create any resource inside this. And also one more thing, in pay as you go account, it is not like that as soon as you create this and you are going to be charged something. It is not like that. For 20% of services like network and tags, resource groups, and so many other things, you can practice them without any charge. They are free, right? So at least if you have already used this one, you can create this one as next option, right? And at least 20 to 30% services you can try, you can use, you can practice for free, right? So I request to all of you, please create your account as soon as possible, because from next session we will be diving into practicals. So there you will be needing these accounts. Fine. And member offer you can choose in case you have any. So basically three type of subscriptions: free trial, pay as you go and member offer, right? So, and next one is yeah. So why multiple subscriptions? Like you might be asking, like if we have already one subscription, like when we create an account, then why do we need to create multiple subscriptions, right? So basically, uh, each subscription, like we may need to create multiple subscriptions in case like we have environment of like that, or like we need to create a different environment, like maybe for like development, or maybe like testing, or maybe like production. So and we want that resources like VM, storage, network, so resources for each environment should be separate one, right? In that case we may need to create different subscription for different environment, right? That is a one purpose. Second is, it may be due to some organization structure, like suppose one organization have different departments, like maybe IT or finance or some R&D, right? So if organization want that each department should manage their own resources and they should be owner of their own resources, in that case as well we can create different subscriptions, and we can create different owners on those subscriptions. All right. It may be due to billing requirement, like suppose each department has to pay separately for the resources that they consume. In that case as well, we may need to create subscription differently for each department or each user. If we have to bill them separately, like suppose IT pay only for resources which are used by IT, then we will be having one subscription for IT. In case there is some testing team, we want that they should bill for the resources which they use. We can create a separate subscription for them and we can charge for them, because each subscription has a different invoice and different billing method or payment method, you can say. Like suppose one subscription for one subscription I'm using different credit card, right? Different credit card. And maybe for other reason, other subscription I'm using some other credit card, right? So each subscription has its own billing system, it's different invoicing system. So that is the one more reason why we create different subscriptions. Fourth one is, like we may need to create different subscriptions in case we want to give different kind of access to different department on different subscription. All right. Like suppose we want that a user should be able to create resources only in one subscription, but he should not be able to create resources in other subscription. In that case we can create subscriptions and we can assign them with some control access policies or permissions, right? Suppose we have a user 1, right? User 1, we can give him access on this subscription, but we may not give him access on this subscription. So he will not so he will be able to create resources on this subscription, but he will not be able to create resources in this subscription, right? In this way we can use subscription to manage access control. And last but not the least, limitations. Like each subscription has some limitation, like suppose we can create n number of networks in a subscription, or maybe like we can create 1000 or 2000 VMs in a subscription. But what if we have to create more than 2000 VMs in a subscription, right? Suppose I have a company that need 2000 VMs. How we can create? In that case we may need to add subscription, right? Suppose we have subscription 1, In that we can create 1000 machines, but we need 2000 machines. Like we need 2000 machines. In that case we may need to create subscription 2 as well, right? So sometimes we have to create subscriptions, we have to add subscriptions just to overcome these limits. All right. So first of all, we need we may create to we may create subscription just to separate the environment. Second, we can create additional subscription just to maintain difference between different structure of organization, like maybe department wise or some other things. Third one is like maybe we may create different subscriptions for the requirement of billing purposes. Sometimes we may create additional subscriptions for the purpose of access control, and also we can create additional subscriptions for to overcome the limitation of resources that we have in each subscription. All right. So next is Azure Management Group. Fine. So hope all the things are clear about Azure subscription. In case you have any query, you can please ask me. So do you have any query? Can we use resources from one resource group to another resource group? Yes, of course we can use. Like suppose we have resources in one resource group, we can of course use resources from other resource group. See, Mukesh is asking like scope structure start from top to bottom or bottom to top. It is nothing like that, right? So only thing is we need to understand the scope. Like suppose we want to create a policy, like a user should not be able to create a VM in US region, right? So in that case, we can create a policy that simply denies the creation of VM in US region, and we can apply that policy on any scope, like maybe management group, or to maybe like subscription, or we can apply it to resource group. All right. So now, okay, let me tell you. Let me explain you uh, in slide only, right? So we have some space over here, right? So now here we can create. Suppose we have a requirement like user one should not be able to create any VM in US region, right? So he should not be able to create any VM in US region, but he should be able to create VM in Indian region. Fine. Now what we can do is we can create a policy. Fine. Policy, and we can apply this policy to any scope. It may be like a management group, it may be like a subscription, it may be like resource group, right? So we can apply it to any of them, and we can assign user one permission on any of this scope. It may be like a management group, subscription, or resource group. In case we are providing user one permission on subscription level, then we can create this policy at subscription level, right? So in this way we can create policies as well, right? So we can restrict like user like no resource can be created in this resource group, like any VM which belong to this resource group cannot be created in US region. Fine. And we can give user one permission on this resource group, like user one has only permission for on this resource group, and this resource group has a policy that we cannot create VM in US region. All right, this is like how things work, right? So we give permission to any of this scope, and then we apply policy to any of this scope. So it is not like that. Hierarchy is just basically like if we assign permission on maybe management group, then all those policies are automatically applied to all the subscriptions and groups which are lying under that management group, right? In case we apply any policy on subscription level, then all the resource groups which are under that subscription, they get the policies applied to them, right? In case we apply any policy on resource group, then all the resources which are lying in that resource group, they get the policies applied on them. All right. So this is how things work. Fine. You can easily see the. Let me come over here. Right, this one. So if we apply any policy over here, they will be inherited by all the subscriptions, all the resource groups under that under that management group. All right. So this is just for easiness. In case we apply any policy over here, then all the resources under that, they will be having those policies. If we apply it here, then it will be on all the resources which are under that. Hope things are clear now. So any other question in case you have any regarding this? Yes, we can use resources from one resource group to another. There is no restriction of such kind. Fine. Okay, so let me move to next slide or next part. So this is the last component that we are going to discuss in this session, and from next session we will be diving into deep demos. Fine. So Azure Management Group, like we have already discussed about this so many things, and this is a top management scope level. This is a top level scope in a Azure account, right? So the main purpose of using management group is just for easiness and flexibility of operational and compliance management. Like suppose if we have to create a policy, like as we just discussed few minutes back, like user 1 should not be able to create any VM in US region, right? But he should be able to create in Indian region, right? So what we can do is we can simply assign this policy to a particular resource group, and then we can give that user permission on this resource group only, right? But what if we want that we want to apply a policy across the complete organization, right? Like suppose we want that we have our company in Indian region, or maybe like we have our company in Europe or Asia maybe, right? Now we want is any user should not be able to create a resource in any other region apart from Asia region, right? Like in Asia they should be able to create the resources, but in any other region they should not be able to create the resources, right? So what we can do is we can create a policy, and we can apply this policy on management group, right? So once our policy is applied on top of this hierarchy, then all the subscriptions, all the resource groups, every user will be coming under that scope, right? If we apply this policy on top, then we can ensure that no user can create any resource against our policy, right? In case we want that only users in a free trial account or only users in a marketing group, they should not be able to create resources in other region than Asia, then we can create that, we can apply that policy here, right? And whatever is coming under that management group, they will be applying those policies like this one only, but remaining ones will be able to apply, means they will be able to create the resources in other than Asia region, right? So wherever we want, we will be applying the policy. All the child items of that entity will inherit the permission or will inherit the uh, policy. So that is the purpose basically. Just for easiness, we use management groups, nothing else, right? So in case let me repeat it again. In case we want to apply this policy on all the users, one way is like we go to each subscription and then apply that policy, right? Like suppose we have 1000 subscription in our account, or maybe like 500. Then one way is like we apply that policy on each subscription 500 times. Or second option is we just apply the policy on top management group, and it will be applied on all the subscriptions, right? So it's a kind of basically easiness. Now, some key facts about management groups are, so in case you are getting confused about this, don't worry. I can imagine like you might be confused little bit about all these things because we are discussing all these things in theory now. But from next session, we are going to cover demo part, so you will be more comfortable at that point of time, like when you will see all these things live. All right. So again, I'm repeating in case you don't have any um, Azure account, please do have it. Either you can create a free trial account or you can go for pay as you go account, right? In case you are in case you are fearing like you may be charged something in case you go for pay as you go account, trust me, you are not going to be charged anything if you use resources wisely. Remove all the resources after your practice, right? That is the best way of using a account for practice. Fine. So please make sure you have account as soon as possible. Okay, fine. Next is like if we don't create any management group, this is a default group that we have by default, right? Root management group. This is a default group that we have. Like when we create a new account, we get this default management group with name root management group, and one more thing, we cannot change the name of this group, right? So it remains as it is. But what we can do is we can modify the contents of this management group. Like we can create any number of management group inside this. We can create any number of subscriptions inside this, but we cannot modify it. But what we can do is we can create one parallel uh, uh, management group. Like this is a default one, we can create our own management group parallel to this, and we can move the subscription to that management group, right? But we cannot remove or modify the default we cannot remove or modify the name of this default group, but we can create one extra group, right? Next one is we can have maximum 10,000 management groups. Though I'm sure you are not going to use this number of management groups at any point of time, but you know, just to uh, make you aware about all these things. Next is like we can create up to sixth level of hierarchy. Like this is the zero level, right? This is not counted, but under this like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and up to this like we can create two more levels, right? So first level, second level, third level, and fourth level. Still we have two levels remaining, right? We can create some more resources inside this one. Fine. Next one is like one parent and many child. Like one entity can have only one parent, but one entity can have multiple child item, So this is how like management groups work, and how our subscription work, and how our resource group works. Fine. So this is all about this session, and enough theory. Like we have covered very basic things of cloud computing in first session, and in this session we have covered little bit about subscription and accounts which are required to know before creating any Azure account. Fine. So now you can create your Azure accounts, and from next session we will be diving into demos, and also we will be conducting these sessions very frequently now, like maybe 2 sessions per week we are going to conduct. So please stay tuned about the information and declarations of these sessions, and in case you have any query you can please ask. In case you have any query you can please ask me. And yes, I again repeat, like for next 3 months please be with me, and go with me, and we are going to cover every aspect of Azure. And again I repeat, if I practice maybe 2 hours, you also need to practice for 2 or 3 hours, right? So that you can move along with me, and after 3 months you will also be Azure expert if you follow all the instructions, all the labs, all the practice notes, right? And also I will be sharing the practice notes with you, like notes which I make when I prepare the things for these sessions, right? So I will be sharing those notes with you soon, maybe like tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I will be sharing the site link where I have uh, stored all the things, so you can get them. Okay, then see you in next session. In case you have any query you can please ask me. Do you have any query? In case you have any query, you can please ask me. In case you have any query, you can please ask me. Or in case you don't have any query, you can please type in chat box that you don't have any query, and we can close this session. And next session we will be conducting maybe for 1.5 hours, and very soon, maybe like on Sunday or maybe on Monday. And our ultimate target is we need to complete this full sessions, all training in next 3 months, right? So please stay tuned. So any query in case you have, you can please type in chat box, and okay, thank you.